Welcome or welcome back to On This Date. And today I just wanted to get on here and kind of discuss the Karen Reed trial that is now started. And I didn't even want to really come on here because I didn't want to get away from watching it. Um, so far, we're with the opening statements of the prosecution and the defense. The prosecution, so far, not looking great. Not seeing too much, not impressed, not in the slightest. Now, Karen Reed's defense attorney, he came to win. He's not playing games, he's not holding back. Right off the bat, brought up Michael Proctor and just, to me, has destroyed the prosecution just in the opening statements. I know we're still really early in and we haven't heard all the evidence. So we're going to keep that in mind. And maybe this is a good time for me to now say, in my opinion, and allegedly, and things like that, right? We will see how the trial plays out. But in my opinion, I believe Karen Reed is innocent. I believe she's being framed by the Boston PD. And I just am so glad that she was able to obtain a lawyer and fight and not just take this and roll over, because many of us don't have the resources, or I don't really know, the understanding, or maybe feel defeated if you have police all ganging up on you. So I think the fact that she's really put her foot down and she has said, "No, I did not do this, and you're framing me," and has been very vocal from the beginning, I think is amazing, and I'm proud and happy for her. I hope that this plays out in her favor. I do again believe that she is innocent, but in all of this, it's so tragic because we have John O'Keefe who lost his life, and all the focus has became on Karen Reed and this cover up. And I mean, understandably so. However, John is gone, and his niece and nephew, who lost their own parents, and then John came in as their parent, is now gone. So, also, the children in this are victims. And hopefully, after this Karen Reed trial, we can now get to answers of actually what happened to John and hold those who are accountable for John's death accountable. Because this is absolutely just mind blowing that they are now retrying Karen for essentially, the same thing. And I know a lot of people, the double jeopardy, and there's so much divided opinions, and just very, very, I guess, hot topic with some. So, for all of you who really don't know, and I'm just babbling, I guess, about Karen Reed without having you much context, I decided to go ahead and put a brief just overview, something that I pulled from Google, CBS News, and just a few other like media sources, to just kind of put more of I guess, a formal brief overview of kind of where we stand and what the situation is. So, for all of you who don't know, the Karen Reed case is one of the most closely watched trials in the US, with murder and police conduct and a largely divided public opinion all coming together to create an absolute media spectacle. A mistrial took place in 2024 and due to a hung jury. The retrial is set for can't talk today. The retrial is set to begin on April 1st, 2025, with jury selection taking place at the time I'm filming this. Um, Really, it should have been at the time I was writing this. So, jury selection obviously is picked, and the trial has started. We have opening statements. So, yeah, I should have took that part out. But I wrote this kind of give a brief overview, and I actually meant to get it out yesterday. I just did not get a chance to, or last week, I'm sorry. And so, as a recap, if you're not familiar with it, why there seems to be this police cover up is because many collection of the actual evidence in itself was mishandled. They were collecting evidence with solo cups. There is deep family rooted ties to this police department, with the Alberts family being, the main kind of focus in this, as to something happened at that house where John and Karen then arrived that night. Um, just tampering with video footage, and there's proof with scientific evidence of the cell phone data coming into the house. There's just many cover ups that took place. And I'm not going to get into that now, because what I think is that if you're seeing this video, you should go watch the live streaming coverage of this case. That way you can get the facts and watch the court proceedings as they play out, because that's what I'm going to do. Because obviously, there's going to be kind of more new um, things that maybe come up, or evidence brought in. We don't know, right? Because at the end of the day, we don't know what's going to be shown at this trial as maybe different as the last. So I think it's important that we all watch the live stream. And then what I'll do is I will come back on here and we will kind of discuss, like, I will tell you what I'm thinking about where the trial is headed and the evidence that I've heard. I also, through listening to this morning, heard something that I don't believe I was aware of at all. That there was actually DNA on John's shoes, like when he was getting, what the defense believes, moved from inside the home to outside the home. Um, there was actually DNA on John's shoe, and I believe it said 5. And again, I'm going off of, I've been listening to the opening statements, and I did hear something about DNA on a shoe. So again, I'm going to go back and watch the live footage again of the opening statements, and then recap kind of tonight what I've listened to as the day goes on, and when I can listen to it when I'm not doing other things. And then I will come back on here and kind of give you my opinion, I guess, of where I think the jury is kind of leaning, or how, if I was on the jury and hearing this case for the first time, how would I be feeling? Important points, if there's something valid of the prosecution. Again, we could hear this whole case and maybe there's something that we don't know that comes to light. I really highly doubt it. But as far as what information I have gathered and what I have kind of digested through social media, the trial prior to this, um, I don't really see what else is going to be new. They're down a state trooper who's fired that was responsible for this investigation, which rightfully so. They are really kind of lacking in evidence at this point, I think. And to me, I feel like Karen Reed's case just becomes stronger every day. But yeah, I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comments where you stand on it. So far, I really do strongly believe that Karen Reed is being framed and that she is innocent. And I feel horrible for her. I feel horrible for John's niece and nephew, basically his children. And again, at the end of this, we have John, an innocent life just taken on a night that was meant to be fun and celebrating with other fellow officers and their wives. And again, I think that's what makes it so crazy. It's like, these are supposed to be people who protect us, serve us, and they're committing crimes. Not only are they committing crimes, they're trying to pin it on innocent people. Like, the police departments are corrupt, and not every police officer is corrupt, but we're seeing this more and more every day. And it's actually scary, because for the people who are not like Karen Reed, who can just have an attorney that's going to come out like a bulldog and just go after this prosecution, go after this police department. I mean, how many people are sitting in jail because of this particular police department? Were they mishandling other evidence in cases? I really hope that they look into other cases that any of these police officers in question, or Michael Proctor, who was fired, how about we look back into their history, their arrest, and how the evidence collections and things that put them behind bars and had them sentenced by a jury of their peers. Let's look into that, because I find it very, very, very hard to believe that Karen Reed would be their first one to be this brazen and just think like, oh, we're not going to get caught, and because we're cops, it's okay. Um, Absolutely, just terrifying to the community. If I lived in that community, I would feel unsafe. The very people who are supposed to protect you are setting people up in their community to go to jail for murder, ruining their lives, their reputations. I'm The amount of words is not enough. It's disgusting, and this isn't just the Boston PD. We see this with all kinds of police departments and corruption, and hopefully, with this case, if anything else, it brings awareness and attention to the Boston Police Department, Massachusetts, and they take their responsibility to the public more seriously. And then maybe other states will follow. But I really, really hope that at the end of this, the FBI and whoever can come in that is above them will go through their records and determine, are these cases that they have prosecuted in the past even legitimate? Are these done constitutionally? Are amendments, are our rights being broken from this police department? I would hope that, again, with anything that comes from this, that there'll be a revamp of the Boston PD. To me, they need just to fire them all. They need to, I say that, I guess that's kind of not right either, because there's probably good cops there. And for all we know, and this is just my opinion, I know that there was speculation of possibly another officer flirting with Karen, and then John and this officer getting into it that night. And there is surveillance footage of this as well, without kind of getting too much into it. But could John have been one of those good police officers on a crooked police task force? And that night, did they all set John up to come over? Did they beat him up? And then the dog, because there was fighting and violence going on, did the dog then attack John? Did they think it was a sick joke to sick the dog on John when he walked in and he fell, hit his head, and they covered it up? I don't know. I just really think that the whole point of them getting rid of the dog, the home, the just so much stuff leads me to believe that it might have been, I don't know if it was jealousy of this other police officer hitting on Karen. I almost want to say maybe John knew something. Maybe John knew what was going on inside of this police department. And maybe John put his foot down that night. Maybe John had a few drinks and John was like, you know what? I know what you guys are doing. Maybe they had words. It wasn't about Karen. Maybe they had words, um, him and the other police officer. I'm drawing a blank to the name of the officer. Is it Dinger or Digger? Um, where the altercation or the disagreements happened on camera. Were they not even arguing about Karen? Were they arguing about an incident that happened at work? Was when the officer ran back to the station at 2:20 in the morning, was that to cover up something that was happening internally? I think that John may have been a good police officer caught up with a very bad police department. And maybe John had enough and he was going to expose them. And that night, it just fell into place how it happened. Maybe they confronted him. Maybe John confronted them. Maybe John made a smart comment drunk. I don't know. I really tend to believe that. I don't think it was over Karen. there wasn't a long enough, like, Karen wasn't dating this other cop, and like they had a long-standing relationship, and John, it wasn't this like love triangle kind of issue. Karen blew this guy off. So my just gut to this was that John was a good guy and they were the bad guys. And at the end of the day, they needed John to shut up. And I think that it had came to that point. And I think also that could explain maybe why John and Karen were having issues leading up to the death. Was John super stressed out over what was going on with the department and couldn't say anything because maybe he didn't want to put Karen in the middle of it? Maybe he was still trying to figure out, like, am am I wrong here? Like, am I really going to do this? Am I going to accuse my brothers in blue, right, of corruption or things going on in the police department? Maybe he was having an internal struggle with that himself, which was kind of bleeding out into his personal life. I don't know. I just rack my brain, like trying to figure out what happened to this man that night and why are these police. Something happened. This isn't kind of sort of Karen. Okay, now I can see the situation. I can see Karen fighting with John. I'm not saying I believe this. Oh, I'm sorry. I just think, yes. I mean, you would be a fool to say you couldn't see it the other way, right? Karen's mad. She's in the car. John gets out of the car. He goes around to the back, and maybe she's yelling at him like, either you get in the car, or I don't want to go in there. Maybe there was something more to this, right? Maybe the bar incident spiraled over. And she just punches it in reverse, being intoxicated and emotions running high, and hits John. Yeah, I don't think that she's going to leave John just stranded with Ring doorbell footage, which that's another thing, is crazy. But in a household with police officers, you're going to do a hit and run. No, if anything, you're going to get out and be like, oh my God, this was an accident. Okay, could she have hit him and not known? Still don't think that. That's why I'm saying I can see a world where you're fighting with someone, you back into him, you run him over. I just can't really see a world where you do it in front of a cop's house with other cops, knowing what you know, being the person Karen is. Karen's dealing with some medical issues herself. Karen's a good person. Karen has came in and took care of a niece and nephew of John's that she didn't have to do. She stepped up as a mother figure to those children. I just don't see it. It would be extremely out of character for Karen. Again, does this happen in life? Yes, but that accompanied with the crooked and mishandling evidence and behaviors of police and sheer scientific evidence that disputes otherwise. I don't really see how you could convict her based off what the prosecution has. But again, I'm not an attorney. I'm just here watching a case and giving my opinion in this. So I will stop rambling because I would like to get back to watching the trial footage. Right now, they're on a recess. So I just figured I would hop on here, make a quick video, and then I'm going to go work on painting my outside of my house and do some content for my second channel. If you would like to come subscribe or follow, it is Counting Steps with Courtney. And that's where I walk with my prosthetic leg. Long story short, I had bone cancer and had botched surgery after chemotherapy, well, halfway through, and went through multiple years of surgery to end up just losing the leg anyways. So a lot of years in medical and a lot more to the story, but I basically just film and kind of do things with the leg and try to get the motivation to be able to walk again. So what I'm going to do today is go outside and paint. Probably not with the leg because it makes me very unsteady and I have to climb on things. Um, But yeah, if you guys want to come check me out there, and again, leave in the comments down below, where do you stand with the Karen Reed trial? Do you think she's innocent or do you think she's guilty? And again, I want to remember John O'Keefe. I want to just, at the end of the day, remember somebody lost their life and someone lost their son, their basically father, their uncle, and the niece and nephew are left now with two parents that tragically passed and now their uncle. So it's just really heartbreaking and tragic in a whole. And it's also tragic for Karen. Um, in my belief, she's innocent and she's being ran through the media as this murderer. And I can't imagine what she's dealing with. So I give her the courage, or I give her the props for having the courage to stand up and fight. And everyone's here supporting you, Karen. And we really hope that you're found not guilty. And I really believe that the jury will see the truth. So you guys have a great rest of your day. And if you like what you see and would like to continue seeing more, please like and subscribe and follow me on TikTok as well. And have a great day.